Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening to you, and welcome to what looks like is going to be the last Lunar Racing Club for a little while, as it takes a little break. I'm your one of your commentators, Oscar 424, and with me is the always amazing Gundam pilot Spaz. So GPS, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing very well, Oscar. I'm very excited to see the Lunar Racing Club. I think this is one of kind of our more premier, more difficult clubs, and it's always fun to see how people figure these seeds out. And we have two premier runners tonight to show off this flag set.
Agreed. It's also a battle of the workshop helper admins for the Discord. We have two very well-known names, and Galahad also agrees. Don't mind Corgi comms. We have Moonblaze Wolf on the left and Poydrak on the right. So I'm curious to see how they're going to be handling this crazy little flag set we got going on here.
So we have a Sid to start off. That's not too bad. I mean, we're going to want to get a decent weapon for him early on, but it comes with a lot of HP. So I don't think we're going to be taking many wipes early on this seed.
Yeah, agreed. And what's actually interesting, given the objectives, there's the two that you will see every single time: defeat the boss at the Ribbon Altar on the moon, and then defeat the boss at the Masamune Altar on the moon. Well, the other two objectives that are required are random, and those two happen to be boss hunts. We have Mylon Zed and everybody's probably not so favorite Odin. So very well, this could be potentially go mode at Darkness Crystal, which is always fun to see people panic when that happens.
Now, what we don't want to send the Lunar Racing Club into hiatus on such an easy seed. I want to see maybe Odin at the CPU spot. We're going to fight through that giant to get there, right?
Oh, that sounds fantastically evil, and I love it. One of the things mentioned in chat was Odin at Evil Wall, also a deliciously mean choice. I'm always partial to the evil ones myself, so it's something where you can't just power overwhelming and whomp them. I'd like to see some fun strats, or if they have an Eddie, I wouldn't mind seeing a Thunderstruck too.
And I just want to point out, of course, Moonblaze Wolf's nice naming scheme, singing out "I'll see you on the dark side" of the Lunar Racing Club. I mean, Lunar Racing Club, Moonblaze Wolf, Dark Side, all of it combined. I think pretty much perfect synchronicity there, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a nice way to set it out. I'm a fan. I didn't actually notice it until you said something. I read it. I was like, oh, I like that. Knowing my luck, though, I'm actually kind of glad for both his sake and my own sanity that Edge and Rosa are the two that are because if it was, say, like Porum and Palom, I would be in so much trouble if they had the same name.
Yeah, but that's always the fear of putting individual words as your character names. Is you got to really think about what you're going to spell as you make your way through the scene.
Agreed. And a couple quick notes on some of the interesting flags about for LRC before we get started here. For key items, we have our standard K main summon moon, but we also have K unsafe on, which means normally you don't have to go to the moon before you go underground. K unsafe, that throws that right out the door. We can be going to the moon before we get underground access, which would be very interesting considering those moon spots are really strong.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more interesting things about the Lunar Racing Club flags are those that K unsafe in there. You never want to pull a Darkness Crystal and have no underground access, but when you're backed up into the corner, you can make some interesting things happen, and that's definitely a scenario that we can very well see tonight. It's a little scary. The only place I'll do a K unsafe is on a Jumping Club flag. No, the rules don't matter much in that anyway.
It's the boss checks are made up and gravity doesn't matter. I love it.
Yeah, boundaries are merely recommendations.
It's like parlay. But with that, we are getting started, so we'll see who our Sid's going to be paired up with. and we have a grind option. I mean, Tella.
With the white shirt, not. I mean, I always like to see a key item at the start, but starting out with some powerful gear does definitely lead you down a certain path. If we're able to pull a white mage, throwing that on her is going to make her have a lot of utility very quickly.
Agreed. And as the 80s, 90s, maybe early aughts beard band gets on its way, it's nice to see that combination. Like, Tella's great as soon as you get his level or his spells online by going to ordeals, but before then, he's kind of, he needs help. And with Sid's HP, if we can maybe find a slight upgrade to the starting hammer, that could be a very, very easy overworld for our runners today.
Yeah, there's certainly, Sid has a lot of options in terms of hammers that have unique weaknesses. The Earth Hammer having being strong against it has fire elemental, so certain monsters, and then of course throw a rune axe on him, and he's strong against mages. He can get a lot of utility, but you need to find those very specific items for him.
Gotcha. And it looks like Blaze has shown us a fiend, but not the fiend we're looking for. We're having leg day in the sauna, so that is a fight he noped out of right away.
Yeah, and with a boss hunt, we're going to be checking those two spots, the Mist Cave and then the waterfall boss. Both of those are not something that you would go to if you're not hunting for the boss, because you're not. There's no key item there. There's no real utility. There's not that much experience. But Moonblaze Wolf is going to be. Both of our runners are going to be peeking both of them, because those bosses are objectives and they could be hiding anywhere.
Completely agree there, and we see both of our runners kind of doing the same thing right now, checking out Watery Pass, because although Tella doesn't have too many spells to start off with, he does have the exit spell, so we can go and do a full cleaning of this area, get some potentially good items. It is T-Pro, so it's not going to be the be-all end-all of items, but you never know, we could find something interesting.
Yeah, T-Pro does limit the quality of the equipment that you're pulling from here, but because this is the Watery Pass, and this is a little out of the way, the loot here is going to be a little bit better than in some of the more commonly treaded areas of the sea.
I did see that heroine robe on Poydrak's side just now, so if we find a female character and an Earth Hammer and Diamond Ring, so that was a very nice end to the Watery Pass for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That Earth Hammer has, it's strong against anything that's weak to fire, but it also has the added benefit of being able to cast Quake. It's a weakened version, but against some of these low-level bosses, it doesn't matter. It's going to help that Sid clear the overworld.
And it looks like Poydrak was curious to see who he could potentially recruit with the Sand Ruby, but it looks like Sid is just finding his twin brother Sid, so it's a little bit of information, which is nice, but probably not what Poydrak wanted to see.
Yeah, so we are limited to 7 distinct characters, but we also cannot take duplicates. So even if we do pull a Sand Ruby and you kind of want to think about taking that second Sid, the seed is going to prevent it from happening. So no duplicates. You get 7 characters, and you got to make a party of 5, and hopefully you can find them all.
Yeah, so it is very possible that our runners can go and fight Z without a full party of 5. If they can't find those, like say, characters 6 and 7 just happen to be, in Tower of Zot. They have no need to go there. They might get cheeky and try a 3-person Z fight. I've seen it done before. That's a lot higher than my ability to even consider, but yeah, these runners, they're good enough where they could do it.
Yeah, two veteran runners, being restreamed and with the pressure on, you start to come up with some unique strategies, and one of those is to enter the toughest fight in the game without a full party. So that's one of your options available.
No kidding. We did see some interesting pickups. I didn't notice who, but one of our runners has picked up an ogre axe. Poydrak has picked up the Sylph Summon, which would be very nice and beneficial if we have Iridia in the part of the Distinct 7, because the Sylph glitch is on. So we do have a very nice way to get some heals in, some damage in early on. And speaking of Poydrak, we are getting our first taste of dialogue this evening with Dr. Luge himself.
Yeah, the Dr. Luge in this spot is not something I'd love to see, because I like to see Dr. Luge in a high HP spot because you're splitting up that HP between those two encounters. But here, it's 500 HP each, or I think it divides it by 3. But it's kind of slowing down a relatively fast fight, so not ideal. But it's not a threatening fight regardless.
And we just saw Dr. Luge giving the tower key, which, as Dissatisfied points out in chat, Luge giving tower key, does it count as vanilla? Because in the vanilla run of Final Fantasy IV, Dr. Luge does give the tower key, just in the tower.
Neapolitan, which makes
that works.
The humor is pointing out that counts.
Thinking back with that Distinct 7, as we see our third character in the form of our Punch Mage Yang. Anytime I see a boss hunt, because I'm a nice person, I want to see the boss behind the package check, which is probably one of the rudest spots to put a boss in for a boss hunt, but it's an easy fight.
Oscar, you can do better than that. You can do the package is behind D-Mist, which is at CPU, and then Odin is behind the package, right? That's
I'm okay with that.
That's a perfect storm right there.
Or just do let's see. The warp glitch isn't on, so somehow go from Sealed Cave to Twin Harp to CPU spot, then to package. Because why not?
Let's see, Poydrak continuing the loot, Moonblaze Wolf taking on his Dr. Dialogue. The one thing to keep in mind while looting on these flags is one of my least favorite flags is on, which is Keep Junk. And normally, Free Enterprise, we mix in a lot of quality of life modifications, and one of those is that the items that you just are never going to use in the seed, like carrots or really weak equipment, they get transferred right into money as you pull them from chests. But here, you have to be a little more careful with your looting, because you can pull those useless items, which are going to fill up your inventory much faster, and it makes looting all the more difficult. So as we see our characters runners running through and choosing what to take and what not to, there's an entire strategy to that as well.
Yeah, it's the inventory boss is always a very cruel mistress when having to fight that, for sure. Now, what's interesting about this fight in Fabul, it does give us a little bit more information than you might realize. So these are the 2 guards and the 4 guards, I believe, share the same sprite. And you can't really tell who's who unless it's either a spot that can show multiple sprites, or you actually just go into the boss fight and see which one it is. The fact that Poydrak has found the 4 enemy boss fight, we now know that the 2 magic guards of sorts is now in Baron Castle. So, speaking of K Unsafe from earlier.
That's right. Poydrak is through that the Fabul defense and is rewarded with a darkness crystal, which gives us access to the moon. And if you're playing in the Lunar Racing Club and you have access to the moon, I think we're going to see a whale very shortly.
Plus, it does give another gated character, and that might be a slightly better character than what they currently have. It is C standard, so there is a bit more of a weight to that character. Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf is trying to blow up a mom bomb on the bridge, which is a little awkward and dangerous, but he'll figure it out.
Yeah, interesting. Some divergence here. So we see Blaze going up, and he's trying to power up his Tela by getting through Mount Ordeals. But Poydrak decided to grab check the character at Hobbs and decided to check the full defense for that key item and that relatively easy boss, and now choosing to go and power up this time. So, Wojciech approaching this with an extra character and a little bit more power, but maybe getting those spells a little earlier in his routing will benefit Blaze a little bit more going forward. So we'll have to see how it plays out for him.
Agreed. And let's see, Blaze has taken care of that first boss. He's just YOLOing into the second, and we have a Lunar Sparkle, which is some D-Lunars. Well, we do have to take out their spot later in the moon, but I guess we'll take care of them now.
D-Lunars here is not too bad. I mean, what you never want to actually fight the D-Lunars directly, because that'll trigger the virus script where they cast a wall and then virus on itself. So Moonblaze Wolf getting around that by just throwing those big bombs out there and getting through it very quickly. Could have also taken advantage of that Earth Hammer and done the same, but I think the big bombs are going to do a lot more damage than the weak Quake that Sid has.
Yeah, that's one thing I know. I tend to forget with a lot of these bosses, they have scripts for specifically attacking with the fight command. And I usually don't remember until I attack them with the fight command and go, oh, yeah, that wall's that's a virus. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna reset now. Oh.
Well, Asuka, when I first started playing Free Enterprise and I ran into those situations, like I always was baffled, like how do they just remember these scenarios and what to do? And the answer is, well, you run into that fight and you use the fight command 100 times, and then it drills it into your brain that do not use the fight command.
That I do like that strategy. It makes sense. It's like hitting your head against a wall a lot, like this evil wall right here. But this, I'll see myself out now.
I like Evil Wall here. I really like to see Evil Wall in a weak location. This location only has 1,000 HP. Not going to be too scary up here. And Blaze getting through it really fast, and we'll walk away with his powered up tail. I missed the key item.
It wasn't a key item. It was a Dragoon Spear. So it's a nice stabby stick, but not really useful for our runners right now.
Nope, could be. I would say it could be a bunch of money, but this is Lunar Racing Club, and nothing is in the shops. So
true.
It can't even be used for that.
It's like the nice thing is, yes, you can get all the cabins you want, and they're all free. The downside is, that's all you get. Even the gated shops of amazingness, they just give cabins. I think even if you forge the crystal, or you forge at a Cocal Forge, you don't even get to keep the Excalibur. So I think there's a script that says, I made this. I'll keep it though.
Seems harsh. It just seems a little bit harsh.
Especially if you have a Cecil and you're like, I really could have used that sword game. I really, really could have.
Yeah. The one nice thing that the Lunar Racing Club flags do give you is that loaded starter kit, which included those bombs that help players get through those D-Lunars. So at least they start you off with a nice bundle of items, but then of course after that you get absolutely nothing.
That was a nice pickup with the Dragoon Gauntlets on Sid, so that's going to give him a little bit more damage. And ooh, this may or may not be an objective. We will find out on Blaze's side right now. Ooh, nope. Wrong one.
Oh well. The search continues, but relatively easy fight. We see that Earth Hammer coming out to get rid of him, and Milan will succumb to this virus, and then we'll see who's hiding behind at our second boss in the Baron very shortly.
It would be funny if it just stayed a purple robe, and then it would be an objective. Like, oh, okay, but it is. But it is an objective. Okay then. Great. So we have found one of our bosses, and I don't know. Is it? I know this is the significantly ruder of the two spots, but is this gonna cause a problem? Given
Tella has lit 3. It's not a problem.
Tele goes sap, or zap, Odin dies. Got it.
I don't even hate that lunar staff there either. I mean, that throw that on Tela, it's going to give him a bunch of white magic utility.
Yeah, especially because we haven't found a white mage of any kind yet. That's and with the white robe and the lunar staff now, we do have an albeit weak backup, but a backup white mage if need be. And to quote chat, this almost was go mode right then and there. If that was Mylon Zed, we would be in go mode, which would have been awesomely terrifying for our runners and pretty amusing for us.
So we have Blaze circling back. He's going to take on the football defense as Project finishes up his objective number 4.
Now, what I'm wondering right now is, I know, I believe it was Blaze that checked the Mist Cave. Did anybody check the waterfall yet?
No one has checked the waterfall. We know Mist Cave is hiding the Rubicon, but waterfall was checked. Thank you. What was the boss then? Obviously, it wasn't an objective.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if it matters.
That just means one more boss off the table, so no worries there. But what's interesting is Leviathan, I think, was on Mount Hobbs having a conversation with Yang, I think. But looks like Poydrak is probably making the charge to the moon. But yeah, I mean, we're really running out of spots to check before the moon is required. I mean, the only real spots left are a very, very, very cheeky demist at in Tower of Zod. But yeah, I think everything's been checked at this point.
Yeah, our overworld checks are done, so the only place left to go is the moon. This is why we love the Lunar Racing Club, and this is why I won't play in the Lunar Racing Club.
Same. 100% same. Anytime I have to go to the moon early, I'm like, really? Do I have to? I can stay down here. I'm fine. But with that loaded...
I manage it fine. However, it's always in my mind something terrifying. So.
Right. But yeah, we hopefully will get a decent character on the Lunar Dais. But with the loaded starter kit, another thing that comes with that are sirens. So we can summon a pretty decent influx of EXP if our runners so choose. Things like the gold dragons on certain floors. Those are usually the big one. I'm not sure if the starter kit has hourglasses. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But there are options for an influx of levels.
There are, and we have Tela and we have Darkness Crystal, so we could always head guide up the bell and do our favorite grind on the Deer Lunars. But we have a ninja joining our party here on the moon, and that's gonna give kind of solidifies our strategy going forward, which is gonna be all melee all the time.
Oh yeah. Now the interesting thing with Edge is a a character to have early on. He will just wipe the floor with in most boss fights on the ground. But Edge is one of those characters where later on in the game you need those good swords. Otherwise his damage falls off really, really quickly. So Poydrak's probably happy to see him, but would be really happy if we had a good weapon for him for later on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, getting Edge right before diving Moon is going to make the runners feel a lot better, but you do want to see at least like maybe some long swords on him before it's time to fight Z. And you know what? And mostly because you have the best name of anyone on the internet, Ratty Sniper, pointing out very, very eloquently that Edge's starting weapons come up a little bit short.
Yeah, that kind of pun just cut straight to the bone on that one. But looks might be. Looks like Poydrak will be heading to the save point, and oh no, Poydrak is going to do some golden dragon grinding right now. I don't blame him.
So it looks like Sid is down, which means that we're gonna keep Sid as our anchor. Tella throwing out the weeks to weaken those gold dragons and make them basically a one-hit kill. This the life glitch coming out, and that's how you grind. So there you go. Your party is moon ready, and very shortly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, there's no way I can survive this. Oh wait, yes I can. It's just remembering your items and remembering what they do and how to use them, because that's right there, 12 levels, 7 levels, and Sleeping Sid.
Suddenly your ninja's at level 32. Fear is slowly dissipating the more levels you get on that ninja.
Completely agreed. I'm curious to see if Poydrak's going to be doing another grinder tours, or is he going to hold on to those sirens right now? It definitely looks like he's prepping his party. We are getting another siren grind, but trying to get the ideal configuration for how his party wants to, or how he wants to manipulate the agility of his party from the looks of it. At least for this fight.
Yeah, moving Tella to the middle to anchor. Maybe he's going to pull a slingshot on Sid or something similar. But it's interesting what's going on. We're gonna see how we can only see how the grind plays out when it's completely finished. That's kind of part of the magic of Great Cross.
It's like the only other thing I can think of is he might have moved. He might have also moved Tella into the center just because there is that slightly better accuracy from the center, and just to make sure those weaks hit, because again, Tella does not have much MP, so any lost MP is pretty tragic.
Thank you, Oscar, for reminding me of that mechanic. That's definitely key in grinding when you're using those weak spells, because weak can miss. It's not a guaranteed hit, and having even a little bit of accuracy.
What's really fun is when you have a Porum in the the third spot, so the very bottom spot where Blaze's edge is, and you need Porum to revive somebody. You have her cast life, and she misses. It's like, oh, why are you here then? I needed that.
Yeah, those missed life casts on low level white mages are always the most upsetting. It's like, I needed you. You had one job and you couldn't do it. Might as well have used an item at this point.
Agreed. But while our two runners are doing a little bit of grinding here, just a quick shout out to our behind the scenes stream team of awesomeness. Any critiques, compliments, criticisms, and other good things to say about the seed, you can direct them to Smapedy, our restreamer for the night. And for the person that is going to be pushing buttons eventually once we start finding key items, is Iker. So give all of them a follow, give GPS a follow, give our runners a follow. They are all amazing people and pretty cool, if you ask me.
And don't forget to give Oscar a follow, of course, and use your points to feed Gal.
It's gotten to the point where he knows. It's like, oh, it's treat time? I will be right there.
So Poydrak grind is finished for now, running up to the D-Lunar spot, which is one of our objectives, the vanilla ribbon room, and running into that pale dim, which a moon boss on the moon is never something that you want to see, but of all the moon bosses, pale dim is one of the least threatening.
Yeah, pale dim, you have to normally watch out for the fact that it's resistant to all the elemental spells. Well, when you have a Sid, a Yang, and an Edge, they're kind of laughing at the fact that they're spelled. So, that's interesting.
How about that go mode?
Was that the plague spot?
This is the plague spot. Yeah. So, fairly low HP. Milan Z. It's not going to be much of a threat here. It'll be a bunch of experience too.
So, what would your thoughts be if you have come upon this?
Well, it's gonna be a 4-man Z fight. That's number one.
Completely agree.
This is gonna be, it'll be interesting, an interesting move forward, right? All the 3 remaining objectives are all up here on the moon. We technically do not need to enter any other dungeon to finish this seed. We can get these 3 objectives and then walk right down to fight the final boss, and perhaps maybe finish this seed in the next 15-20 minutes. But we still have to get through these bosses. I mean, both of our runners reset out of that pale dim. Moonblaze Wolf is going to check on objective number 2, see what boss is lurking there. So we still might be in for a bit of a grind before the end.
This is absolutely interesting, and as Judge and Phineas said in chat, there's a new one. Underground is haunted. Ooh, that's a... Finding Antlion, who is a very punchy boy, in Ogopogo's spot, which is a very punchy spot. That's not a good combination at all.
That Antlion is going to be hitting for thousands of damage. Multiple thousands of damage. It's, I think our runners are gonna need a little bit more grinding before they can challenge that spot. But at least a source of blink that they can get on their party really quickly.
Agreed. And as Poydrak's walking to get the bad news, we have Blaze kind of swapping spots with Poydrak and finding out how quickly he's potentially in go mode or no mode, as you will.
Yeah, both of our runners have been neck and neck, kind of just swapping which locations they're doing first, and then coming back together. But it's still anyone's race here. I think the first person to get through one of these rude bosses is going to have a huge advantage. But these spots are tricky enough that one of our runners could get stuck on it for a very long time, and the other one can blaze through. It's this is kind of the beauty of free enterprise. It's these bosses and these spots where they're not supposed to be can give these very unique challenges.
As we see, Poydrak took a little bit of a stab at Antlion and realized that might not be the best idea. So he's going to be heading and checking the other boss spots. I'd be curious to see if our runners even bother to leave the moon at this point. I mean, why? Just if you can, turn on encounters and grind up a little bit that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I was running in this race, if I have to leave the moon at this point for any reason, that's a goal. I'm feeling like I'm gonna lose the race, so I don't think either of our featured runners here are leaving the moon.
Well, the fact that this Golbez is kind of interesting because I believe we have some Star Veils in our loaded kit. Since we can actually get through this fight, it's still, you have to get the Star Veil up before Golbez just has your team out of existence. But if we get a Star Veil on at least one of those characters, Golbez should be able to, well, hit himself or reflect enough spells on him to where you just have to bonk him once and get some XP on a character. It's not ideal, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, Golbez can be a pretty easy fight if you get those veils up quickly, because he just kills himself essentially, especially in a high magic location.
It does look like Edge and Tella have remained up, so that'll be Edge is. Oh, and Edge is going. Oh yeah, as actually Harumph mentioned in chat, and then Golbez demonstrated this spot because it's the Wyvern spot. Not really high on the magic side of things, so
no, yeah, it's one of those the programming of Final Fantasy IV is very good for one thing, but it's very interesting the way that they kind of made bosses threatening and then nerfed them a little bit. So yes, Wyvern is given the most powerful spell in the game, Mega Nuke, but is put on a location where he has a very low magic attack, so it can't combine with a high magic attack and do an obscene amount of damage. So Golbez is a weak boy.
Yeah, no, it's still gonna take a little while. Yang is showing us the power of the Punch Mage. I don't know what claws he has on. I'm just gonna assume he found a Thunder Claw and that's why he's doing that much damage combined with the Berserk, but heck.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, Moonblaze making us eat our words because he's leaving the moon and he's entering the Giant of Babel. So we maybe a D machine grind on the table. Also potentially, but maybe not out of the question. I'll say looking for a fifth character.
Do D machine grinds? It's the slingshots require 5 characters, but the D machines are fine with just the 4. Correct?
Yeah, you can D machine with any number, but for the slingshot, which is a function of Free Enterprise itself, it does require a 5-person target.
And it's kind of interesting. We've looked at a few moon checks already, and we still haven't found any key items. We're still sitting on 2 key items per player. I mean, it's a strength ring, so not something you're going to be upset over, but still, Smapety, I just want to make sure, did you put some key items in this seed, or did you just want them to go to the moon?
They're clearly all underground, right?
Right? It's like there's a cave value or something is going to have the hook. It's going to be a hilarious hook, and then everything is underground.
So Blaze is heading right into these bosses here in the Giant of Babel. I mean, if these are easy, that's a demist, and tease that as a possibility. It's a tough spot for demist because of how much HP it has, but it's a key item. So, but and all that doesn't matter too. Like, I wish it did, but unfortunately, it's not going to. It's just a lot of experience. It's 100,000 experience in that spot. So, Blaze is going to want to get through it if he doesn't want to D-machine. But I think he's deciding to D-machine instead of pushing past the D-mist.
Yeah, that's what it looks like he's setting that up. It's tough to say. Proper D-machine grind manipulation I attribute into the same, or put in the same category as things like agility manipulation, aka black magic. So I'm someone that will just YOLO it in hopes that I find it, because
just counting, Scott. It's just counting.
I can only count to potato, okay? But I mean, if I would have saw that fight, I'd be like, oh, sweet, I found my grind. But Blaze is a much smarter person than I am and probably realized that was what would that be, a horseman?
Yeah, if it's not a D machine, it's going to be the horseman.
Well, the fact that he hasn't run away or reset that is a good sign that he's found his D machine. Tune in next time. We do have Poydrak. It looks like he's still trying to figure out that, I don't know if he's going to go back to the Pale Dim spot or go and he'll be trying to work on Pale Dim once more. But something you have to think about, especially since you know where everything is you need to beat the seed. You know a boss is there. There has to come a point when you go from making an okay amount of attempts to beat the boss at your current levels and stats, and choosing, you know what, maybe I need to grind somewhere else before I tackle these bosses. So there is that fine line that I'm hoping Poydrak doesn't get tripped up by.
Yeah, and well, I mean, this is a race, and it doesn't matter how you get through the bosses as long as you eventually get through them to meet your objectives. If Boyjack can push through these bosses at lower level than Moonblaze, that just puts him, it'll allow him to get those objectives quicker, but Moonblaze is setting up for maybe even the longer game. The higher level will allow him to get through these bosses faster than Poydrak can, and then he'll be able to get through the final boss faster than Poydrak can at the levels that Poydrak will have if he successfully makes it through Antlion and Pale Dim here.
Agreed. And thinking about the final boss fight with like the 4 characters currently in the party with Yang, Tella, Edge, and Sid, that doesn't instill a heck of a lot of confidence in terms of high damage. I mean, Yang does really well with levels, and Edge on the flip side does really well with equipment, but otherwise there's not like the standard high damage dealers like your Cecils, your Canes, even with a really nice spear, or the Defense Avenger combo. No mages aside from Tella. They have to be thinking in the back of their mind that this fight, although they can get to it, it could be taking a little bit longer than usual, and can Tella sustain everybody long enough to make that viable?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a stressful Z fight no matter what. Speaking of stressful fight, this is a very rude moon. Like, I hate this moon.
I love this moon because I hate this moon.
Elon Z was a gift, but everything else has just been awful.
I'm actually surprised Poydrak didn't check Cave Bahamut. I mean, at this point, though, it's like, okay, yeah, what was that, like DKC or something at this point? But it does look like Poydrak's getting the same idea that Blaze had, and will be doing a little bit of a D machine grind. And also probably won't be happy to see the demons at CPU elements.
Yeah, but Blaze is a lot further along in this grind than Poydrak here. So now that they're kind of back, they're on the same track again. Moonblaze Wolf is kind of taken a couple minute lead here as we enter the final phase of this seed.
Now, with this grind in particular, would you grind to your standard Z levels, whatever they may be, or might you shorten the grind a little bit, knowing that you have like the D Lunar spot, which is going to give a lot of XP ahead of you? Like, where would you cut this grind off, knowing this party is, well, you're not trying to get spells or anything?
Where would I cut the grind off? I mean, Blaze got 10 levels per character. I probably would have went a little further because I would be a lot more afraid of that Antlion than I think Blaze is. But we'll see what his next action is, because he could be planning on pushing through the D-Mist here and getting that little extra experience. But I just want to see that move. I want to see it pushing through some bosses in the Giant. I don't think we're going to get that tonight.
Well, he reset.
He is not happy with where his levels ended up, and he is doing the D machine.
I think he heard you.
I think he did. I definitely would want Edge and Yang into the 50s. I mean, you want them to do a lot of damage, but you also want them to be able to take those hits until you can get Blink up, and even then, it's going to be a long fight no matter what you do, no matter what level you grind to.
Just right here, you're seeing the positive attributes of both Sid and Yang. They're massive HP pools. I mean, not even at 50, Yang's already past 3,500. Sid's just over 3,000. I mean, even Edge is almost at a nerfed Big Bang safety, so he's already got a nice influx of levels right now.
Yeah, it's time for the classic free enterprise double D machine. Neck and neck race. I feel like I haven't seen one of these in a while, and it's very nostalgic for me at this point.
It's like if you just switched Yang and Edge on one of the screens, it would be perfect. But yeah, no, I mean, even with the restart of the D machine, Blaze is still ahead. He didn't really lose too much time on stopping and starting, maybe a couple D machines worth, but I'd still put Blaze a little bit of advantage over Poitrak right now.
Yeah, but it's certainly hard to say. I mean, having to go back into this grind is it's going to cost Blaze time, and so where we end up, where the levels end up after both of the runners finish this iteration of the D machine grind is gonna tell how the rest of the season's gonna go. I think I want to keep reiterating that even if we grind up as far as we can go, like there's a lot of technical knowledge left to get through that antlion.
Completely agreed.
We're gonna see some top level play in order to get through that boss, because there's few, like I think maybe, I don't know, what boss would you really dread to see there more than an antlion? Gauntlet, maybe?
Yeah, just with the massive length of Gauntlet, but yeah, I've had to deal with an antlion at that spot, and I pretty much had a similar melee heavy team, and we talked about earlier with some bosses having certain counter scripts, and antlion absolutely has a counter script that it's literally counter. You attack antlion with a fight command, you get a counter to the face, and although you can blink away damage done by basic attacks from antlion, counter doesn't care. Counter's still going to hit you, and it's still going to hurt. So it's a scary fight, and it's not a short one either.
No, and I think we joked at the top of this race that we wanted to see some rude boss locations in that boss hunt. I think that the extremely rude boss at our default Lunar Racing Club objective is far more in the spirit of this club than just trying to hunt down one of those bosses. And I wouldn't have this race any other way right now.
Agreed. It's definitely a good seed to put the LRC on hiatus with. It's, yes, you have a very quick go mode, but again, you got to get through some really, really rough situations first. So that really quick go mode, not so much. That being said, I'm curious what's going on with Blaze, because he got 6 levels on each of his characters, and he's still taking on encounters. That's not a good sign at all.
Yeah. I mean, is he... Yeah, it looks like he's still looking for a certain encounter. I don't know if it's going to be a D machine again. I mean, a couple things about the D machine here that maybe is throwing Blaze off is the fact that the ideal situation you want to be in for a D machine grind is 10 key items. Actually, they're pointing out maybe MP refill. We don't have ethers. We're at ethers.
Oh,
Leaving the D machine grind to get more.
That
energy.
would do it.
Hella. I mean, continuing to find the grind over and over again is definitely taking time, but this has to be calculus that Blaze has balanced.
And I was able to take a look at some of his characters. I believe Edge and Sid are right at 50. Yang is, I want to say, 40. I think it was like 48 or something. So if he is going for a little bit more of an XP influx, he's close. He's got to be close. So unless he's going for some outrageous numbers, I don't see him needing to do a fourth one, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm also interested that he's continuing to keep Sid as that anchor. He allowed Tella to get all that HP or XP.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of there is potentially because Tella's got his work cut out for him. Maybe in the Z fight, he needs Tella to have more than a single turn every once in a while. Tough to say.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's just that Tella's stat growth is so bad. It's so abysmal. But yeah, I mean, you throw levels on anybody, they're gonna improve.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, no, that's a good point. Tella just does Tella things, and we love him anyway for it. It also always fascinates me that Edge has that much MP compared to other characters that had no MP.
Oh yeah, for all those ninja spells that you're going to be throwing out throughout the final battle.
I mean,
oh boy.
Oh, I really suddenly hope that somebody finishes Tower of Zot and finds the Cecil.
No, Asuka, we have a crystal sword. That guarantees there is no Cecil.
That's true. That is true. That would be like finding the spoon and Edward at the same time, and the spoon flag's not on.
You sound like you're speaking from experience. Very
I am absolutely experience on that one. You get so excited, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, why can't he? Oh, this speed is a bummer now.
Asuka, I cannot say I've ever been excited to see Edward in any context, but we're different people for that reason.
Yeah, sounds right. It's okay. But as Infinity says in chat, it's a junk sword, convert it to cabins. That sounds about right. So getting that crystal sword, Poydrak is now pressing his luck for hopefully no whammies and checking out some trap chests in Castle Eblin. So we'll see if you can find anything good there.
We want to see a legendary ninja sword to pulled out of one of these trap chests. That's I imagine that's what the goal is. Whether we'll see one or not, it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one, even if he pulls two. I'm fascinated to see how our runners are gonna get through that antline.
Oh yeah, it does sound like he might be trying to steal some alcohol in the form of Bacchus wine, which with a melee heavy team like this, mazel tov.
That is the steal strategy that I always forget is an option. Getting that Mad Ogre encounter with an edge in your party, you're able to steal the Bacchus wines, one of those really coveted items because of the Berserk ability. Yeah, definitely, it's always a blind spot when I'm playing through Seeds, and it's gonna definitely be a benefit here when we have a bunch of melee fighters and the Antlion and Z fight coming up.
Agreed. I'm not even gonna act like I forgot it. That is high level gameplay that I am not quite at yet, and just kind of go, oh, no wine, too bad. And then afterwards someone reminds me, hey, you could have gotten that from the Mad Ogres. I'm like, oh, right. Oh, I guess not. I guess Poydrak wanted to check the chest. Here's another Cecil sword for you. That's just swell to see.
You know what? Now I don't know what Poydrak's gonna do. So...
The script! We have one! Why aren't you sticking to it?
We got to talk about Mad Ogre stealing. That was fun.
It was. Yeah, and this is the one case where hopefully Commander Leonhardt isn't anywhere around here, where I can say, this is a situation where the Crystal Sword is useless compared to the Excalibur because Edge can throw the Excalibur. Edge can only just look at the Crystal Sword and go, sell it!
I mean, I'm sure he thinks the Crystal Sword is pretty, right? He's a prince. He enjoys the finer things.
I'm sorry, my favorite Crystal Sword is the Crystal Sword that you get from Luca on rare occasions after finishing Dwarf Castle. Here's this for you. Thunk! Giant sword on the necklace.
Well, our explanation on Mad Ogre stealing did not go wasted because it looks like Moonblaze Wolf is trying to get some of those Bacchus swines.
I usually talk about Runner of the People or the People's Champion. Moonblaze Wolf is turning into the Commentator's Champion. And now we have Poindrak dealing with the Mad Ogres.
Back to I swore that he got through those Mad Ogres before, but I guess I was mistaken.
Maybe he reset after I don't know. I'm just vibing and having a good time.
Right, Thursday, the week's almost over. A little sleepy.
Heck, I'm always sleepy.
Follow, I don't know. He did reset. Our tracker is confirming, so we're not crazy.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Don't put words into my mouth and not, or the voice in the head too. They totally, you know what I'm talking about. Stuff and things.
This isn't Underground Racing Club. It's not currently midnight Eastern. So
Fair.
no excuse for not being able to follow the free enterprise at this point.
This side note, kudos to Poindrak for racing in these. It's out of all of most of our runners, he's one of the ones where the normal times for you and I are in the wee early hours of the morning for him. Let's see.
Yeah, we have a couple runners who live upside down to the United States, and hats off to all of them for participating in these races and for dealing with the scheduling conflicts to play this silly game. But that's a lot of passion there to deal with that.
Agreed, and for all of our runners overseas, they're allowed to talk about things like cricket or whatnot. I mean, those are cute little bugs, right?
Or what?
Oh, I was just talking about cricket. It's okay. Oh, there's Judge and Phineas. Hi.
That's like baseball with a flat bat.
Yes. It's like someone yelling Eddie in a crowded room, and then all of a sudden I teleport out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure a cricket bat is the Infinius, pun intended, bat signal. So I've learned more about cricket from the few times Infinius has talked about it. As I know more about cricket now than I do lacrosse, but I didn't know lacrosse existed until I went to college and asked what the weird sticks that I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the word. A male bathroom stall looked on sticks. That's what they looked like to me.
I'm not gonna disagree, but I also never imagined that a lacrosse stick was a.
I had never.
Anyway, we got some Bacchus wines now,
and I swear I have. Thank you, Smapety. Toilet stick. Thank you.
Looks like Moonblaze is pulling a power shirt out of that side chest there. That's gonna be. Welcome. He's throwing it on his ninja, moving the black belt over to his yang, and just incrementally building up his character's party as we go on.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Poydrek is riding that Segway right to the moon and probably trying to take out Paledem again.
I was seeing that ninja magic in play. This is one of those fights where I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of it. Although, of course, my ninja is rarely going to be level 50 when I'm taking this trap chest. But that's just the way Moonblaze plays this game. And a white spear to boot. That's another good pointy stick for a character we do not have.
But can it be darted, though?
I believe it can be. I believe you can throw a white spear.
I'm not sure I don't know the full catalog of throwable weapons. I know I think there's an icon in the menu that points it out, but
I believe in the theme of high school sports, I believe that's the javelin. Is what that has.
Gotcha. I always did the shot put because they needed a girl on the throwing team. And they said, here's a shot put.
Here, Asuka, you seem like you would be trustworthy with a very heavy ball.
Good luck. Last words. Also, side note, I was today years old when I realized you could exit the lunar whale from the right. I did not.
Really?
I did not know that until Blaze just did it. I'm like, well, okay, where's he? Why is that? You can. It has two doors.
Symmetrical.
What? This is new technology.
Did you know you can enter your car from the left to the right too, right?
Oh, it's okay. I just used the window.
Yeah, that's fair. On the left or the right.
Apex Corbin, that baby's a cocoon.
Okay.
It's just like this lunar whale can fit two doors. All of them.
Can fit so many doors in this lunar whale.
The things you learn watching.
Wait till you find the fat chocobo in the back there.
Okay, the first time I saw the fat chocobo, I was half asleep while playing a seed. Scared the heck out of me. He's only like half paying attention as I went to sleep, and I went to sleep in one of the beds, like lower on the screen, and I looked away, and as I came back, chocobo. It's like, what? It's the simple things, okay?
It is the simple things. It's the weird things. There's a lot of stuff like that in this game that I forget because I never go and do things or use things that you would in vanilla, and going all the way back in the lunar whale is one of those things. But he's there, just waiting. What's your inventory?
That look on his face. Like, hi. Yes, Pepita, I got jump scared by Final Fantasy. I will go back to the non-scary games like Fatal Frame and Silent Hill now to make myself feel better.
It's Five Nights at Fabul.
That would be awesome! Oh my god, and every fight is a night. Oh, don't let the sound of the squealing tires. That's my headcanon just driving in full force with that. Like that's a Wisconsin duck level of driving away into the sunset, into the water, so on and so forth. But meanwhile, it looks like we are getting a double pale nope noodle. Same difference. It's Paledem. They're beating him up.
That's right. He's both pale and dim, and he is getting tackled by both of our runners presently. Definitely would choose Paledem over the Antlion. That Antlion still, like we're promising, is going to be very rude. Asuka, I have to. I don't know if you want to place friendly wager. Will either of our runners defeat the Antlion and then do the swag walk right to Z, or take that save? Do not have to do that fight again.
I don't think. Okay, I think it's going to depend on if there's any first place finishers when they beat Antlion. And for those that, so people know, the runners don't watch other people's streams whatsoever, but they can see when other runners have finished. It's how they know if they're still in the running for first or not. So if there's nobody that's finished the seed yet, I think if one of them beats Antlion and is in a pretty good situation, particularly with Tella, I think we might see a swag walk. Otherwise, I don't see them risking it. So basically, that's the short story long for answer unclear. Come back later.
I say Poydrak swags it, and Moonblaze Wolf takes the safety save. That's what I'm betting.
Yeah, I could see that. That's not a bet I would go against, because I could see that too. I definitely see Blaze taking the safety save, but yeah, Poydrak is a mercurial poison dragon, so it's tough to see what he's going to do and not do.
Right. With that said, both of our runners have objective 1 completed and are one objective away, one Antlion away from completing the seed. And Poydrak is exiting out of the lunar subterranean. Is he going to go check the Earth crystal?
That is interesting. It could be rate that treasury. There are characters. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. It pays off for him.
Oh, and having to take the shame landing because you cannot land the whale. Wait, is the Enterprise over there? The Enterprise wouldn't be over there. Or is he... Why is he taking the shame landing? Can't land the whale? Pretty sure you can.
He didn't pay for premium parking?
He is thrifty, Poydrak. That's one thing you can say about.
Economical. But Poydrak is giving us the fun Fable check, and I'm sure a lot of us know what time it is.
Rate that treasury!
I did see that Stardust Rod. That's interesting. I mean, it's nice, but
I mean,
we don't have a second page, so
you have a choice to give Tella the Stardust Rod or the Lunar Staff. I think you're going to want him to heal more than you're going to want to do offensive magic.
Ooh, that's a nice full moon.
And illusion, which I'm very excited about for that Antlion, but yeah, the full moon's going to be, well, it looks like just to get Edge back road glitched, that's going to be helpful. Yeah, interesting. I mean, not too much utility, but I like that illusion. Stardust Rod if we really won't really need it, and now you have a back road edge, so you can take those hits from Antlion a little better.
I'm not sure what. Oh, well, yes, Poydrak is continuing on to Tower Zot, so we can see some character checks. This is an interesting play on a Poydrak side, especially since we have Moonblaze Wolf tackling the Antlion on the other screen.
Yeah, I mean, even if Poydrak pulls like a really good character, like Cecil is up there, there's still a grind that needs to happen. Like you can't give a level 1 Cecil a crystal. Well, okay, you can give a level 1 crystal, and he's going to do some damage, but he's not going to be super powerful. But it is super tempting when there's a potential Cecil out there, and you have that crystal sword in your inventory.
Here's the thing. Blaze just took out Antlion and is now getting his crystal. So now I'm really wondering what... Oh no, Poydrak. Oh, Poydrak. I'm curious what Blaze is going to do, but we do know that Poydrak is going to have to sit through the alt gauntlet.
That's pretty rough in that spot. And also, Moonblaze taking the safety save, and we'll see if he takes this. He decides to go and fight the final boss at this point. I think he has to.
Yeah, as a reminder, we do not have first place finisher yet, so a very bold Z fight that could give Blaze the win. So we'll see. I'm nervous for him.
Oh, I'm very nervous. I mean, like a four-person Z fight is, it's done, but it's never friendly, never fun.
Especially since you're relying on Tella with that
healing and no stack of tier 3s to get you through in a pinch. It's tough. No, yeah, Blaze is going for it. We're gonna see a Z fight. The flag's out in chat, everyone.
Is this something that would Blaze be trying to nerf Big Bangs?
I would imagine so, but I mean, you can't really rely on 1200 HP strats in. Well, it's tough because you can't go buy a stack of star veils,
right?
Or healing potions or something to trigger the big bang with. Like it's tough to do 1200 HP strats when you can only buy cabins.
Yeah, but still, we are going to the final room, and everyone's going to spread out and say hi to a smiling fire. And the more you look at the fire, you will see, yes, it's smiling. You can't unsee that. But in the meantime, there's a question that needs to be asked, and I will leave that question to you, GPS.
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
At this point, I'm hoping for a meme boss, like Zeramis, or Zeramis, or Sumarez, or Googly Mus.
Potato mus.
Hummus.
Yeah, I do love a hummus. I do love a hummus.
Reformus is a good one too. FF12 Zeramis. Yes, Zero Ward or Riot, everybody. But quick side note, Poydrak has found a Sid and a Rosa. Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
Rosa, I definitely would feel a lot better with Rosa doing my healing than Tella.
Are you feeling alien, though?
That's a scary Z sprite.
Speaking of scary genres, that is a really cool looking Xenomus. That is really well done, Scala. I'm just gonna say it's yours. I don't even care if it's not yours. It's yours, Scala. It looks cool.
It looks like it is the Xenomorph from the Alien vs. Predator, the video game. So I think it comes down to this, Poydrak still has to get through Antlion, but if Blaze, if he takes a long Z fight here and then ends up with a wipe, Poydrak definitely is in a much better position. But better white mage at level 10 is not a better white mage. You got to get some levels on that Rosa.
That is a hard one. I because of course I forgot, Edge is darting a lot of those weapons. I mean, it is a clearance sale right now in the inventory, so that's going to be given just that much more damage. I mean, 5,800 from, I'm not sure what it was, so it's going to help, but is it going to help enough?
Yeah, 6,000 damage is a crystal sword swing, so yeah, that Edge is doing some work.
And to Blaze's credit, looks like he's doing the double slow strategy. While Poydrak is being a runner of the tracker. We have a fourth key item! Hooray! To answer
kudos to our tracker for not hesitating to hit that rat tail. They've been eagerly waiting to track something this whole time, I'm sure.
And again, shout out to Smeepty, is our wonderful restreamer, and Iker, who's our wonderful tracker behind the scenes. They're doing a heck of a job. Yeah, that was... Blaze is also getting a bit RNG'd here with some pretty nasty rolls.
I think that was also the final ether that Blaze had in his inventory, just tossed on that Tella. And ether ones don't go too far when you're casting, the 4-tier cure spells, even 3rd-tier cure spells.
And plus, since it is a melee comp, we are going to be in the HP refill. We're going to have to take out all of the HP in this fight, and there goes another big bang!
Yeah, I think Yang's definitely going to survive this, but he'll probably be the last one standing. And I think he berserked? I think he is. Berserked. But not anymore.
Nice timing in the black hole.
Oh boy.
Oh nope, that is a hard wipe on Blaze's side.
Yeah, so I think here is where Poydrak's trip to the Tower of Zod becomes kind of starts to feel more and more like a big brain play. With that Rosa in tow, the Zeromus fight looks just a lot more pleasant than anything Blaze can deal with.
Right, and Poydrak still has to take out Antlion, doesn't he?
He does, which was going to give plenty of experience to Rosa, and because Rosa's so low level, she's going to get the slingshot from that. So it will be double the experience that that spot normally has for her.
Plus, even especially with the treasury visit, I mean, we do have. I believe we have an extra staff if he hasn't sold it. There's the white shirt. I mean, we've got a surprising amount of gear for that Rosa.
Yep, it definitely pulled the second lunar staff from the treasury, and he might have left it in the chest, but we're not selling anything in this seed. There's nothing to buy. So if it's not in his inventory, it's back in the treasury.
S-free when, you have money, that's cute, we don't need it. Here, let me make this belt buckle for you. Or one of those rolly, squishy things where you put in the penny and like the 50 cents to $1 in quarters, and you start cranking on it and it prints out this like picture. It's
the coin smasher. Coins. Rolly squishy thing. And then when you started to say coin, I got it, but that's not where I thought you were going. Penny press. There we go.
Like I use correct terminology here.
No, it's Magus in chat. I'm not going to take credit for that one. In a million years wouldn't have been able to pull penny press, but it sounds right.
It makes sense that it's called the penny press because that's exactly what it does. That's one of those, that's too on the nose. Oh yeah, that is called that then. Okay. It's the simple things sometimes that just makes things fun.
So yeah, Poydrak is going to take a King Rio encounter here to get some experience for Rose.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame this player here, especially you took the time to... I mean, Poydrak going to Tower Zod probably knew it was a huge gamble, but the fact that he hasn't seen a first-place finisher, he might be thinking it's the right play. Now, he obviously doesn't know that Blaze is attempting the Z-Fight Part 2, but yeah, just giving her that little extra experience might be gravy for him. And yes, Magus, those machines still do exist next to like highways and in certain theme parks.
Yeah, places still exist. Confirmed. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way.
No, there's this machine that essentially produces a wax or a plastic figurine at in I think Brookfield Zoo or Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. That those machines have been around for years and years and years, and I was so excited every time I'd get to my parents would let me get one. It's like I think the last time I went to the zoo, I saw one of those machines. I'm like, okay, I'm over 30 and I'm still getting one of these because I can.
Wait, so it produces a wax figure? Is that what
It's a plastic figure. So what it does, you put in the money, and the machines have two different molds. And if anyone in chats from Chicago can tell me the name of them, I'm forgetting it right now. But you put in the money, and the molds come together, and it puts in the plastic, and it just produces a little sculpture, cute little sculpture of an animal. Nothing special, but it was just one of those really cool things. That being said, speaking of really cool things, as it turns out, our runners, well, they have found out first place has been spoken for. We have a winner in this heck of a seed with Jay Brunter. Jay's finished with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 6 seconds. So GG's on getting through this speedy seed.
Yes, GG's to our winner. So, Asuka, I did not know what you're talking about, and I'm gonna say it's called the Moldorama, and it is unique to Chicago, and only Chicago-based attractions. So that's why I thought it sounded insane, but it does exist.
There's been like local documentaries about the family that like runs the machine, and they're just I don't know, they're just really cool.
So, Podrak, grind done, facing down with Antlion, while Moonblaze is taking a big bang, a full-powered big bang that's going to take two of his characters down to the ground, and hopefully he'll be able to get them back up and healed up as that black hole comes out to remove any status effects that he may have had in his party. It's it's just the Z fight. You forget, like the Z fight is always tough, and a lot of experienced runners make the Z fight look very easy. But you go into the Z fight with the party that Blaze has, with no dedicated healer that has more than 90 magic points, and it's a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it also plays a factor in is just what the rolls are on the big bangs. I mean, Blaze has been getting hit with some high numbers on those big bangs, so he can't even catch a break on a low rolled big bang. He's still getting smacked by the really hard ones. And actually, looking at his party right now, it looks like he's relying on. Oh no, that's not good. So it looked like he was going to try to nerf that big bang with the crystal coming out of Yang. Unfortunately, when Yang queued up the crystal, Z cast the big bang, and yeah, even though Yang didn't die to that big bang, because he queued up the crystal, he was going to use it, he was going to die the next turn. So, short story long, Blaze has decided, I think I need to go somewhere else first. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah, I think Blaze, seeing the first place finisher but noting that his opponent has not finished yet, is thinking that maybe he has a little time to play with, but at the same time he has to be worried that he's with two Z wipes just falling behind.
Completely agreed. Though, to mention for Podrak did take out that antlion and has his crystal himself, so as it turns out, he has not swag walked. So To answer the question from earlier, neither of our runners swagged this, which I don't blame them, to be honest.
I'll take 1 for 1.
That works.
I asked on my guesses.
I'm curious, does Podrick think he needs a few more levels on Rosa?
Podrick thinks he needs a few more levels on Rosa, 100%.
Fair.
You want to have her Cure 4, if not. I mean, I don't think he's going to get her to white, but you need to Cure 4 at the very least.
Gotcha. And did not like that fight, especially given, well, Tella went down.
Well, Cure 4 life too, so I think Rosa's ready at 42.
Her HP's a little low, so an unnerfed Big Bang is going to be really scary, but...
Yeah.
It's still that using Sid as the anchor instead of Tella. I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah, definitely something to ask Podrick about after the race.
And I missed what Blaze did elsewhere before he went back to the cabin and took a quick sleep. But
Blaze took a King Ryu fight as well to do a little extra grind.
Gotcha.
Thinking that maybe getting a couple more levels on his character so they do a little more damage will help him push past the Z fight, I imagine.
And Smapey pointed out in chat that the white robe would give Rosa some buffer against Big Bang, so that does make sense. Oh, and now they're talking about Chicago food, which, I'm hungry. But it does look like Podrick is going to be finding out that he has to take out a Xenomorph in his Z fight shortly. So we'll see. I should say we will be able to see the difference between going into the Z fight with 4 characters, one of which is a not so great, easily relied on mage, versus a full 5-party team with a dedicated healer. So I don't, unless Z is being exceptionally rude with some high rolls, I don't think Podrick's going to have too much trouble against Z here.
Yeah, the main difference, of course, is that Podrick Sid is a very low level. It's only 25, not going to do a lot of damage to Zeramis, but keeping your characters alive long enough, it's not going to matter if Blaze can do more damage in a short amount of time, because he just can't get those heals out.
Yeah, and plus with what Blaze has had to do is he's pretty much had to rely on, at a certain point, solely Edge to do damage, and then Yang kind of became a chemist at that point. Here, even if Sid goes down, even if Tella goes down, we now have 2 damage dealers in the form of Yang and Edge, with Rosa keeping everybody up to snuff. So, and if Rosa does go down, then most likely Yang will be the one to bring her back. So, a little bit... I mean, it's not a guarantee that Podrick has this in the bag. We've seen firsthand just how rude Z can be in certain times. So there's just going to be a little bit more breathing room on his screen. Gosh, I love that sprite so much.
It's such a good sprite. But I mean, even looking at the HP totals, White Shirt Rosa should be able to survive most Big Bangs, but there's probably a couple Big Bangs out there that she won't survive. Sid and Tella basically are going to go down real quick. So, it's certainly not a free fight for Podrick at this stage. Like, that one nuke almost killed Edge. So, it's I think it's not outside the possibility that Podrick takes a wipe here. Blaze can easily come back and use his 4-party team to pull out a victory here. So I still have no idea exactly who's going to win this.
What's really fascinating, though, is Moonblaze Wolf took a trap chest and got a behemoth, and that trap chest gave a protect ring that he instantly put on Tella. So that was a really, really good find for Blaze on that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those little things do add up and can make a pretty huge difference.
100% agreed. And the thing is, although Jay Brunter finished in first, Jay is still the only one that's completed this seed, so second place is still up for grabs. It's interesting in seeds like this where, again, you have go mode so quickly, and then it's still a while before you see people complete the seed for whatever reason. In this case, getting a decent party, maybe taking the chance and finding Rosa, dealing with some rude bosses and rude spots. So it's just because you have a fast go mode does not guarantee you have a standard jet seed.
Yeah, the only disappointing thing about like the community club showcases is that we can only watch 2 of the runners, but there's so many talented people making their way through these seeds, employing their own interesting strategies. Like it'd be fascinating to be able to watch Jay Brunter's strategy and see how it differed and why he was able to get through the seed when our featured runners are struggling a little bit.
Agreed. And for those that are watching this and are going, hey, this looks kind of cool. It looks hard, which in the seed it is, but if you want to get involved, check out our Discord. There are so many amazing runners, like the runners you see here today, all of us on the Restream team, a lot of people in chat right now. I mean, they're great resources, and we love seeing people of all skill levels, from scrubs like me to really good racers like GPS. We love to have you. We love talking free enterprise, and you can potentially get involved in one of these races, and maybe next time we could see you on the big screen.
I think that the only thing I regret about free enterprise is that I was like nervous to jump in and play it, because I was like, I haven't played the vanilla in a while. I'm not too familiar with the game. Like the randomizer is going to be a little bit intimidating. You know what? Like if that's you thinking that kind of stuff, just throw it all out. Get an easy seed. There's some easy defaults you can roll on the free enterprise website, and just start. And you'll find that it's even your knowledge of the vanilla game doesn't really help, and it's kind of its own beast. It looks like Final Fantasy IV. It kind of plays a little bit similar to Final Fantasy IV, but it certainly is its own unique thing, and it's a ton of fun and a great community.
If you're someone that thinks it's like, okay, I'm bad and nobody ever wants to like acknowledge my existence in this rando, that's not entirely true. I'll be honest, I guaranteed myself that I'd never be on Restream, because heck no. And if it wasn't for the really supportive community, I wouldn't have signed up to be restreamed, and I actually did get restreamed once, which was terrifying. But it's just the community's so supportive, and again, it doesn't matter what skill level. What does matter, though, is the fact that we are seeing falling rocks on Poydrak's side. And for those who don't know, Meteor means that Z is almost dead. About 12,000 or so hit points before we get the flash, crack, boom. Which should be coming up, and we don't get the flash, we get the crack and boom. And with that,
Poydrak is our second place finisher and first place finisher of our restreamed featured runners, with a final time of 1 hour 28 minutes and 39 seconds. GG's to Poydrak.
Absolutely GG's, and that brutal seed. For as few checks, that was rough. So I tip my imaginary hat to our runners. But it does.
What's about this imaginary hat? We don't live in a fantasy world here.
Hey, my headphones have cat ears. I can't wear a hat right now. But yes, we have been joined by a dragon, Poydrak. GG's on that.
Does that actually count as GG's? Actually, I really enjoyed that seat. Surprisingly, I'm one of these people that really likes the harder flags and the more you have to think about something, the better it is for me. And yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was as we said in chat, you were in go mode, or at least no mode, very quickly, and still it took almost an hour before the dot came in. Like that is crazy. That's impressive.
It's those two bosses. The bosses themselves aren't exactly a problem. It's just in those particular locations they can be annoying, and with what we had, it just compounded the issue. Really, you had to. There were two options that I could have gone on for. It could have been use the sirens on the moon and hope for some easier boss spots. That didn't work out. Or go and grind in the giant for D machines, which probably would have been the better play overall to get through the first one, and then go and get Rosa, then go and get the rest one. And yeah, it's a lot of running around after the fact that you know what you're up against. Gosh,
yeah.
So Point Jackie, the difference between you and Moonblaze Wolf is you decided that Sid was going to be your anchor and you were going to level up Tella. Is there a particular reason that you chose to do that, considering that Tella's stat growth isn't exactly the best?
Very simple. Berserk and Blink. Berserk, Blink, and Weak. Those are the three key spells for him this game. Sid doesn't bring that to the table, and Sid's a better ranker, in my opinion. And if you've got two damage dealers in Yarn and Edge, sure, Edge didn't really get a whole lot of equipment until I went into Eblin on a whim and picked up that longsword and that mute dagger, which I think was in the giant. Still, Tella brings a whole lot of utility to the table that Sid just couldn't this time. And it helped me get through that, through pretty much all the fights that I needed to.
Yeah, and that play to go to Tower of Zot was an absolute galaxy brain play. And to put it into perspective, when roughly at the same time where you decided to go to Tower of Zot, Blaze was actually going in to fight Z for the first time. And fast forward, and here you are finishing in second, and Blaze is still trying to four-man that Z fight. So what possessed you to go for the Tower of Zot play, and how did you feel finding that all gauntlet there?
Right. I thought, I got that Earth Crystal. I thought, I could do with some better equipment for Edge. Let's go and check the treasury, and while I'm down there, let's just check that characters. A Fu would be amazing here. Rose would be amazing here. Porum would be amazing here. Heck, I'd even take Rydia because I had the other Sura. I just needed healing options outside of Tella. Tella's great for utility, he just doesn't bring that healing to the table when it comes to Z. So I had 4 chances of a character that I would like. And seeing Rose up there just went, yes, yes, yes. As for that all coordinate, I considered putting up a sign in front of my screen, in front of my gameplay saying, because, let's put it this way, you've been in no mode, you know what you're doing for roughly an hour on that seed. You cannot feel anything but behind. And the all gauntlet there just goes, really? You wanted me. We're wanting to delay you even further. It was the right play to make in a lot of situations, but it's just plays on your mind. So yeah.
There's that brief moment there where you see the one blue robe, you're like, okay, this is fine, this is water hag, and then the second one, you're like, well.
As soon as I saw the first blue robe, I knew it was all gone, because why would it be anything else?
That is the kind of attitude I like.
Why should the seed be nice to me now?
Yeah.
So we're coming into a hiatus for the Lunar Racing Club. This is one of the premier clubs, one of the kind of more challenging flag sets. You said you really like these challenging flag sets. Like, what would you like to see changed in the future to make it a bit more to your taste?
It's difficult to say, because you can't really go too much more than this without really making things extremely difficult for yourself. And this is really the cusp of where, and the limit of where you should really be going with it. Of course, there's other options that are in play. Everyone in the community knows that. As the curator of Slapdash, I'm more than happy to put a flag set in front of me and I'll play it. But how we can go further with the Lunar Racing Club without making it too difficult, it's difficult really to say to any point.
I think that's a testament to exactly the level that these flags are at this point.
Yeah, but there is a very good reason to go the opposite and go easier, because we've got the Lunar Racing Club up here, which is going away for a little bit. We've got the Underground Racing Club, which is aimed towards more high-level play. We've got the Slapdash, which is just chaos. We've got the Enterprise Legacy, which at this moment in time I would have to say is a little bit more on the difficult side. Of course, that will change likely in the future as the flags evolve. And we've got the Mesidian and Jump Club, which is a little bit more beginner friendly, but the jumping side can put a wrench in things. So we need to sort of have a fill gap for that earlier stage, which has been sort of talked about in the Discord. So there may be possibility of something like that turning up. But so yeah, there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of things that could happen with this Thursday spot. We'll just have to wait and see.
Fair enough. Any last minute words before we ask nicely if we're getting a music check, maybe?
I have one big word, and yes, I can do a music check if you wish. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too. Take care, and GG's, Poydrak.
Thank you again, Poydrak. GG's.
I always love talking to Poydrak. He has my kind of sense of humor. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, extremely dry, extremely talented runner, and always fun, Poydrak.
I will say, really quickly before we can go into Blaze changing his strategy a little bit, Tybo has finished the race in third with a time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 16 seconds. He sniped Microkorgs. Microkorgs finished in fourth with a time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 21 seconds. So that's a nice little 5-second snipe right there. And rounding out in fifth place is Sorbius, who finished at 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 15 seconds. So GG to you three. Now, as Poydrak is going to be giving us a quick music check, GPS, do you want to do a quick talk about what Blaze is doing now for his strategy?
Yeah, so it looks like, Blaze kind of, he mixed it up, and it looks like they're doing a variant of the 1200 HP strats with, by using the Star Veils to reflect those nukes back at Zeromus. he's allowing Zeromus to hurt himself, and as long as Zeromus is only being hit with reflected attacks, he'll never get his HP refill. So Blaze only has to do this until he can do about 60,000 damage. So those 1200 HP strats are fairly safe, a fairly safe strategy. You just kind of keep throwing stuff at Zeromus in order to trigger those nukes, and then just send those nukes right back at him. But of course, there's the risk that you run out of your star veils just like that, and Sid takes a nuke to the face. But it's definitely a safer strategy than taking trying to melee his way through this, and hopefully it works out for him. I mean, he has been doing some steady damage to Zeromus, and I think he's nearly through. But with, again, a 4-man party is just so risky.
Agreed. But yes, on Point Dark side, we do get some wonderful Final Fantasy IX music. The Festival of the Hunt, which is a banger of a song. So, oh no, please. That was definitely one of those very heartbreaking resets right there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I mentioned while both of our runners were still setting up that 1200 HP strats are tough on this flag set, because they do assume that you have a kind of a lot of gear, a lot of star veils, something to heal, something to trigger that nuke. The crystal works, but something with a little faster animation just works better to make the fight a little easier.
But yeah, with that, we do see Blaze changing up. Oh, thank goodness. This is one of those situations where being able to see what's going on with multiple runners and knowing that there is a Rosa that is so close to Blaze. I don't know about you, but I'm relieved that Blaze hopefully goes up Tower of Zot, and not just does a treasury run, but he's going to be both relieved and probably a little upset that once he sees that Rosa.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is going up the tower at this point and finding that Rosa. It's probably going to feel like, you have a jigsaw puzzle and there was a huge piece missing, and oh, there it was. There's the solution to all of my problems. A white mage who can actually function as a white mage and not just a damage sponge.
It's going to make that seed feel a lot nicer to him. Again, it's one of those at least in Moonblaze Wolf's situation, he's now seen 5 people finished, and if nothing else, it makes sense to change up the strategy, because clearly the attempts have not worked so far, and he might be thinking, hey, they might have found something, and with the options on the table, the only thing they have is the Earth Crystal. So thankfully he is going up the Tower of Zot, so he'll see the duplicate, but more importantly, he will see that wonderful, wonderful white mage.
And that wonderful, wonderful alcohol.
Well, there's that too. But funny note, let's point out in chat that hilarious D-Mist at Elements, if you wanted to go underground via the magma key, you had to beat that D-Mist.
Yeah, I did take a note of that while we were talking to Poydrak, that Rydia's mother does hold the magma key, which is such a roundabout way to get underground. Although I also did not see where the hook was. I don't know if anyone in chat caught that.
I think Kyuda in chat mentioned hook was at Murasama,
which had the CPU there. So I think at that point I'd rather fight. Well, I'd probably rather fight the CPU, but with this party, I think it's kind of a toss-up between CPU and D-Mist.
Yeah, it's one of those, you are not going to be happy in that fight, one way or the other. Just which type of unhappiness do you choose today?
Oh boy, what a wonderful scene. It's also I wonder if it's worth. I may ask in spoilers to report back, but I wonder if any of the runners tonight actually get run underground at all. Because I doubt it.
Yeah. It's so weird because you have the meme Moon's Haunted, or in this case, Moon's Vaunted, where you have all the goods. But I don't know if I've ever seen or been a part of a scene where the underground was completely pointless, just completely haunted. It's a weird feeling. And yeah, for it being the final LRC before it goes on hiatus, it makes sense.
So Sorbius also confirming in chat that he also did not go underground. It is one of those things because with the boss hunt, those bosses could have been anywhere. They could have been, in a rude spot underground, but they decided to stay on the moon where the Lunar Racing Club belongs. At least at Milanzi. Odin was having a drink with was it Sid in the bar, I believe.
Yeah, it was one of them. It was a beard of some kind.
It was a duplicate beard, and we didn't get to take.
But thankfully, Moon is going to be getting both the really great and also really kind of bad news at the same time. Duke Teller was at the bar. Or as we like to call the early level Anchor Teller.
The beard we can get the take. That's what I said, right? Tell him.
Something like that. And there's the Rosa. That is Vanilla Rosa, isn't it? I just noticed that.
That is Vanilla Rosa. That's right. But also, I can hear the sigh of relief all the way from here.
Do you remember at the beginning of the scene where I was mentioning that I was so glad that it was Edge and Rosa that had the same name? Well, he just found Edge and Rosa.
The of Dark Lunar,
because with the duplicate Edge and then Rosa, it said the and the joined. Oh my god, it is the simple things that amuse the heck out of me. I swear I haven't touched any of Edge's Bacchus wine. I just have some Diet Mountain Dew. Not sponsored.
Free Enterprise is not sponsored by Mountain Dew. We would take it. So using ninja magic to get through our dolls, Moonblaze, picking up the White Mage. I imagine, just like we saw Poydrak do, we're going to do a very quick grind to get her up to Cure 4, and then back in our Zeromus fight to finally finish this one out. I really felt that Blaze was about to pull off the last strategy. I think that if maybe he had the one extra Star Veil or put the Star Veil on the Sid instead of Tella at the end there, he probably would have been through it by now. So a gallant effort nonetheless, but it's just a little unfortunate that those Z fights didn't work out.
And now we have the backup parking to grab the Lunar Whale.
Yeah, this is a true parking lot of shame because the parking spot in front of Troya is taken by the Lunar Whale.
I wonder what kind of grinding he's going to do. Whether it's just some random encounters, go fight a boss, maybe?
I think I did see one more Siren in his inventory. So it's probably going to be King Ryu's again, unless he spent that one during one of the other between Z fight grinds. Oscar, did you ever notice that you could exit the Lunar Whale on the right there?
I know, isn't it cool? found out today.
It's symmetrical.
I will still totally just use the left side. It's a force of habit now. Like it's gotten to the point in like Fey March, going into that teleporter thingy. Even if I'm not going for the freebie chest, I will always push down. It's like, oh heck, no, stop it, hand. Just, yeah, I can't stop it at this point.
Yeah, those little habit things are so tough. I think when they made the update mid last year, where you no longer forced you to stop on the save points. I don't know if you were around for that update, Oscar.
I had just kind of started really. I was present in the community somewhat before, and I wasn't really playing though.
It took me weeks to stop moving around every save point to prevent that little pop-up message from showing up before I learned just barrel through the save point.
Yeah, I do remember watching a lot of races where there were runners that were still going around it, and I think someone will make a comment of, well, we did have a patch where you don't have to do that anymore, but here we are.
They're really going to want those couple frames back going around it, wasted.
And all of a sudden they end up losing by like a half a second, and they're just like, oh, you save point. And I don't know why I pointed at my camera, which is off, because I don't know, stuff and things. But yeah, it's entirely the save point's fault. So, I completely missed, because I'm great at paying attention like that. Did Blaze do any type of grind for Rosa, or is he just going?
I think he did take an encounter. But now that you say that, I don't think he did. I was talking about save points, and I don't think he took no encounter. So he's just going for it. Well, I mean, Rosa would have taken some experience from the dolls, but
true,
that wouldn't be much. And in fact, Rosa is in the anchor spot.
Okay. I mean, yeah, at Rosa's levels, considering Tella's gotten XP before, Rosa's probably really heckin' slow in comparison. So, especially with how close he got previously, this might be the play if he does the variant on the 1200 strats again.
Yeah, I mean, you are doing some better manipulation. You're not gonna. I mean, I would be tempted to use Rosa as a white mage, but I mean, if he thinks that all he needs is to speed up his party and slow Z down a little bit, then this is the play. You might be able to get through this. That's the black magic you refer to. It's agility manipulation.
Exactly. All I know is keep the center's agility really low, but there's a number where suddenly you want it to be really high, and then everything gets thrown out the window, at which point I just put numbers into a bingo ball roller and hope.
You did it. You figured that's it. That's exactly right. Somewhere Baka Shinobi is out there just like gritting his teeth that he cannot do math right now on the stream, but yes, it is you want your anchor to be as low as possible, or at least within the thresholds, which come in periods of 14, increments of 14. So you're controlling where Zeromus is on those relative agility scales.
Would Baka say that I am a Baka at agility?
Yeah, I'm sure that he would.
There it is. Oh, you gotta love languages. mostly also couldn't think of anything for Shinobi, so I went with the low-hanging fruit. Also, Servius in chat has pretty much summed it up nicely. Agility works like the whole I before E thing in English. There are rules up until there are not. That is accurate.
Yeah, English and Final Fantasy Free Enterprise. No one, people can get really good at them, but no one will ever truly master either.
You're definitely not wrong on that one. But at least nobody set us up the bomb. So there's that. I'm learning the speedrun of that game, so that makes it even worse.
Well, you know what, Oscar, you know what you're doing.
Making poor life choices? Yes.
Oh,
yes, I am.
No, taking off every zig.
What you say?
Oh, so Blaze taking a big bang here, but having plenty of hit points to absorb the full power of that attack. Definitely looking a lot better this time around with the Rosa anchor. Would you say, Oscar?
I would, and even from just a very simplified, not really thinking about agility per se, it's the fact that the characters are visibly taking more turns. So if nothing else, you are getting higher DPS numbers overall. Is it still going to be a scary fight? Absolutely. Because he still technically doesn't have a white mage at this point. But that being said, he doesn't need a white mage anymore. Oh, I will say, 6th place was sniped by Tella Says Relax with a time of 1 hour 54 minutes and 24 seconds. But Moonblaze Wolf has finished the seed in 7th place at 1 hour 56 minutes and 30 seconds. So GG's to Moonblaze Wolf, well earned, and we'll see if we can get our favorite Awu in chat. Hi.
And we're joined by Moonblaze Wolf. Blaze, how about that one?
Hi.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up a lot of things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's Lunar Racing Club for you sometimes. I don't know.
So, obviously the seed was really fast in some places and really challenging in others. But when you came upon Antlion there, did you have an idea of what your strategy was going to be at that point? Did you know that the D machine was going to be how you were going to grind? Like, can you take us through those steps at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see a good way of finishing the seed other than just getting a bunch of levels. The thing I miscalculated on was Tella. I shouldn't have gotten XP on Tella. I'm fairly certain if I had just left him base level and done the rest of the seed that way, I would have been fine when I got back to Zeromus, because you saw how the Rosa anchor worked. I mean, I just needed a slow anchor. I didn't even need a heal or anything.
Yeah, what was your thought? I asked Poydrak a similar question. What was your thought, not only seeing that Rosa in Tower of Zot, and she's been there this whole time, and before that, finding out you had to go through Alt Gauntlet to get to her?
Oh, that was just icing on the cake, just the seed rubbing it in a little bit. Honestly, I just needed a new character. It honestly didn't matter what character it was going to be. I would have been able to make it work. So it was funny that it was Rosa, but I mean, I don't know. There's probably folks who just went to Zot right away for the treasury and maybe an anchor, and I'm sure that worked out a lot better for them. Like I said, I think if I just kept my Tella at or around base level and not let him accumulate all that agility, that probably would have worked just fine too. So
yeah, no, it's really interesting because Poydrak did go right to Zot as soon as he got the Earth Crystal, but he took the time to grind Rosa up and actually utilize her as a healer during the Z fight. So it's really interesting that you knew enough about your current party comp that just having her as the anchor would just be enough to get you through that. But we saw a bunch of variants of strategies with the 4-man team. Like, is a 4-man Z fight something that you're comfortable with typically, or how were you handling that fight with only 4 characters?
I mean, it's been so long since I've done a 4-character Z fight. I think I forgot a little bit about just how, honestly, like, it's been a really long time since I just had a bunch of Bacchus one and did pure Berserker strats too. So I think I just was a little rusty on the mechanics of all that. I also thought I was going to be able to make a 4-man reflect strat fight work with a bunch of really good darts that I'd gotten. So I don't know, like, it's just, you get so accustomed to doing certain strategies on Zeromus, and then when you get into a seed where you can't do the stuff that you're comfortable with, I mean, it can really throw you for a loop. And, kudos to anybody who just knows, like, plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and Z for the Z fight, and can just whip out whichever one is most appropriate for the situation. I'm just clearly not accustomed to, a variety of strats there, so...
Yeah, that was... I mean, just being willing to take 4 people into Z is something that impresses the heck out of me. Kudos for doing that. That is impressive nonetheless, so...
Yeah, thanks. I thought it would be fine with the Bacchus wines. I guess, again, Tella's agility was just too high, because I figured I would have the Bacchus wines. He would be able to throw up actually a very respectable Cure 4 on, and then I would have nerfed the first Big Bang. So I figured I could just ride Yang and Sid across the finish line. But clearly that just wasn't going to happen. That first fight went so poorly that it was just pretty obvious to me that I was going to need to figure out a different strategy. So.
And I'll ask a quick cheeky, or more of a cheeky comment. Blaze, thank you for teaching me that there's 2 exits in the Lunar Whale today. I had no idea you could leave out of the right side of the thing.
Wait, out of where?
I mean, Lunar Whale, that you could. There's a right exit, not just a left exit.
Oh yeah, no problem. I get lost on the Lunar Whale constantly, so it's good that there's more than one way out for me.
It's the simple things. But yeah, listen back. You'll hear my mind getting blown.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But no, but seriously, like, I just really hope. I mean, when you get a seed like that, I like to think if you're watching the race, you can kind of see, like, the gears turning in a runner's head in real time, because, like, you're watching me, and I'm assuming Poydrak, just, like, troubleshoot how we're going to finish the seed. And for me, it was like, okay, my big play is I'm going to go steal those Bacchus wines from Ebelin Castle, because that's going to give me what I need to get across the finish line. And I was close. It was the agility on the Tella. If I had just left him at low agility, I would have been fine with the 4 characters. So just one little mistake and the whole house of cards falls apart, but it's pretty cool. I hope when you have something like this that's really, tricky and out of the ordinary maybe, and you get to watch runners figure out how to unpack and figure it all out.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the Ebelin Castle section of this race, because both you and Poydrak were in Ebelin Castle at the same time. And both Oscar and I said, oh, they're looking for gear. And then Infinius in chat said, oh, they're looking for Bacchus wines. And then Poydrak just went through the ogre fight without pulling any Bacchus wines. And it became very confusing as to what exactly the goal was there, until
that's pretty great,
on the same screen stealing wines at the same time. And it became very dizzying. But,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. But so this is Lunar Racing Club is going on hiatus. These have been kind of the premier challenge flags of the community clubs. What did you really like about these flags, and what would you change if there was another iteration in the future?
I think the things I really liked about the Lunar Racing Club is it was a good flag set for doing K unsafe, which is where you potentially could have to go to the moon before you go underground. The things that made it maybe not as interesting, I would say, in season 2 versus season 1, aside from the fact that, like, everybody is really good at, like, B machine grinding now, is for whatever reason, it just felt like Tello was always in the seeds where you had to do that. But aside from that, I think that the loaded starter kit was an interesting experiment. I think I learned that I don't like the Lunar or the loaded starter kit on the whole. But it's still kind of an interesting thing to have played around with, and I think there's certain formats where that's actually a really interesting take on the starter kit. But when you can just kind of blow through all of the early stuff with those J items, it just doesn't feel super interesting to me. And then I'm gonna take just a second and call out Invenerable, because Invenerable insisted on T-Junk being in this flag set, and I lost a minute on Ordeals because I mismenued and dumped all the crap that I was trying to get rid of back into my inventory, and I'm gonna hashtag blame Invenerable for that. But I know his heart was in the right place wanting to play with that flag, and I don't hate him for it, but like for me personally, it was just like, inventory management, why? I just want to go.
I can't really talk because the community race flag set I did totally had T-Junk in it too, so I can't comment on that.
I hate T-Junk so much, but no,
we don't know how good we had it. Like, seriously.
I understand what you're saying, Blaze, because like both you and Poydrak, approached Ordeals and hit those Lunar Dragons with an Earth Hammer, which is a perfectly acceptable strategy for them, and you just threw the big bombs at them and got through them really quick. So I understand that may be the loaded starting kit, maybe a little bit too loaded for a challenge. Oscar,
but I think honestly, like the biggest thing is just everybody in the community is so good right now that you throw K on safe at them and it just doesn't even matter anymore. And like that's a testament to just how good the average, or like the people who do the racing clubs, like just how good everybody's gotten. So I kind of joke about those other things. I'm not really being critical. It's just it's just kind of when you put it all together, I think honestly, like, it doesn't have the intended effect of what we all originally thought of when we came up with this flag set, with the idea being, force people to go to the moon early, make them uncomfortable, and make them do things that they're not accustomed to, because they'll get better at them. And sure enough, over the last year or so that we've had this club, they have all gotten better at them, and it's just not really that big of a deal anymore.
Gotcha. And I mean, touching back on something that you mentioned was you'd hope that people watching this would kind of see the gears turning and everything, and you honestly really could, especially with your Z fights. With every iteration of the Z fight that you took on, there was little changes made here and there, and how you went from kind of just brute forcing it to suddenly doing a Star Veil reflect strat, and then finally going to Tower Zot and finding your new anchor. So it was really interesting watching the progression and watching from a viewer standpoint your little tweaks to that Z fight and how you were getting progressively closer and closer and closer. So yeah, I definitely think a lot of people can take some knowledge from that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of different ways to play this game, and that's one of the cool things about it. So I just really appreciate everybody who came out and watched tonight. I know it was maybe a little bit of a grind, a little bit of a slog. I feel really bad for Iker over here tracking. Like, did he just go like take a nap after the first 15 minutes, or
He was on top of that rat tail and Poydrak.
Oh,
just like,
nice.
Silly in there.
I would have missed it, but he got it right away.
Same.
But yeah, thank you everybody so much for supporting all of these community clubs and checking out the restreams of them. We've really enjoyed having them for the last year or so.
And GG's and being one of our featured restreamers, it was a pleasure to watch you run this.
Yeah, thanks. I love doing this, so anytime.
With that, we do have one more runner to mention. Roger McBain has finished in 8th with a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 34 seconds. And with that, though, that's it.
That's the end of a wonderful night. Wonderful night of Free Enterprise, a wonderful night of facts about the Chicago area, wonderful, facts about symmetry in our lunar spacecrafts. We learned a lot tonight. We laughed. Probably laughed a little bit too much, but hey, if these late night races are not for fun, I don't know why we do them. Asuka, it's always a pleasure to do these with you.
Likewise, and the fact that you've put up with me for long enough in this night is a testament to your character.
Anytime.
But looks like with that, we are going to be rating Rex Banner. They're doing just a casual run. But since we are coming from a race, no spoils! You spoil, you get the bonk, and Scala's newspaper is getting stronger and bigger and scarier by the day.
That's right. And if you are the beer baron, then I suggest you probably not follow that raid, because he's going to get you.
Yeah, that's how you end it. That works. And on that note, I hope everyone has a good night or a good day or morning wherever you are. And until next time, take care.